We're live.
Greetings. Welcome to the Elm City Lit Fest podcast. I'm Ife Michelle Gardine. This is Shaw McAllister. Elm City Lit Fest is a celebration of literature and literary artists of the African diaspora. Our podcast is bi-weekly on Sundays. Welcome, and we're happy to have you here as we celebrate Women's History Month. We celebrate the voices of the African diaspora all the time, and we're extra proud to celebrate women. We are women. Our team is also includes Emily Mayo. Emily's behind the scenes always, in handling our social media. And here we have Shah. And this evening we have women voices in theater. Some really fabulous up and coming, I want to say they arrived playwrights. We have A.K. Payne, and we will have Abigail Onywale. Welcome, Kevin.
Yeah.
Hi, everybody. I'm so glad to be here.
Thank you for joining us this evening. So I will introduce AK. AK Payne is a playwright, artist-theorist, and theatermaker whose people are rooted in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Her plays love on and engage the interdependencies of Black past, present, and futures, and seek to find reminder language that might move us toward our collective liberations. She holds a BA in English and African American Studies from Yale College and is currently pursuing an MFA in the playwriting from Yale School of Drama. Did y'all feel the electricity come off that?
Oh my goodness. Our second guest who will be coming on, will be joining us shortly, will be Abigail Onywale. And Abigail is a second-year MFA acting student at the Yale School of Drama. An undergrad at the University of Texas at Austin, she was one of the most accomplished performers in the history of forensics, having won 13 collegiate national titles across 4 different interpretation categories over her 4-year career. She has been a sacrificial poet for many events, including the Texas Grand Slam, Slam Mania, hosted by Right About Now. And both these women are students at the Yale Graduate School of Drama. And we're just excited to have them here and to talk about their work. Oh my goodness. Okay. And because they are Black women with strong voices, and it's really important for our voices to be heard, especially in theater today. So AK, let's just start a little bit about how did you come to select Yale?
Yeah, that's a good question. So I grew up in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and I lived there my entire life. And I came to Yale for undergrad, mostly because I was interested in arts. There's a lot of arts opportunities in this school, and so I found my way into the school through that. And I think I had a very difficult time in Yale undergrad, just as a space, just with the elitism and the way the school operates. And grad school has been a lot different than that, just being able to focus on art and being able to just like collaborate with people and create work. A lot of like Black and brown students at the school too. So yeah, that's kind of how I found my way here. But I consider New Haven home. I consider Pittsburgh home now since I've been here for almost 6 years. So yeah.
And Pittsburgh is the hometown also of one of my favorite playwrights, August Wilson.
Mm-hmm.
So who had his whole series here back in the, was it 90s, 80s,
Yeah.
90s? And I also was blessed with the opportunity to meet him a couple of times while he was here for opening nights. I was like, hey, but also at the National Black Theater Festival.
Wow. Yeah.
So growing up in Pittsburgh, did you hear much about him, or was that one of your inspirations?
Yeah, so I read all of his plays when I was in 9th grade at my high school, and he was like all around Pittsburgh, like Black Pittsburgh theater scene. So like a lot of my friends like know him as inspiration, and my family actually is from the Hill District, where a lot of his plays are based. So my dad's side of the family grew up there, and so I spent a lot of time hearing about that and like hearing about the legacy of that particular community, which is really rooted in like the Black arts tradition. And yeah, so I think he's very much a part of like how I came to find my voice as a playwright. He was the first playwright I read that had rhythms in his character who sounded like my parents or like my father. And I think that's sort of where I began.
So how did you get started as a playwright? Like of all the theater things to do, like everybody wants to act, and how did you come up with writing?
Yeah, I went to an arts high school in Pittsburgh, kind of like co-op, and I studied creative writing there. And I wrote my first play when I was in 7th grade, and it got to go up in like a little small theater in Pittsburgh. And I saw it, and I was just like so blown away with like the ability of this art form to like bring people together, and to have like a collaborative impact, like that the words that I've written on the page in solitude, like were spiraling outwards, and like able to like create communities and have people in the room. And so, yeah, I was like from that point forward, I was like, I want to be a playwright. It's what I want to do. And that's sort of been my journey from there.
Okay. And we're going to welcome Abigail here. Welcome, Abigail.
Hi. Hi, everyone. Hi. Nice to see you all.
We're so happy to have you here. Thank you.
Thank you
for showing up. And we're just talking about the Yale experience and how you came about and how we came out to be a playwright. So how from the University of Texas did you get to select Yale?
Yes, I started off at UT, and I was a pre-med major, and I was focusing on psychology or human development and family sciences. So I worked with children with autism specifically, and so then I went to med school at Texas A&M, and I hated it, and so I ended up taking a break and doing my master's in biomedical sciences while I figured out my life, because my parents still wanted me to do something because I'm Nigerian and I couldn't. That was no excuse to just drop out. And so while I was finishing my master's, I was also auditioning for MFA programs because my friend had gotten into NYU, and I really was like, wow, I've always wanted to act, and I love performances because I did speech and debate for a while. And so luckily enough, I ended up just applying, I think, for only 4 MFA programs, which is unusual. I think people apply for a lot. And Yale ended up being my choice, and that is how my acting career has begun here. So yeah.
So you're acting, you're an actor, but you, in addition, you also playwriting. So how did you do?
I actually, AK is like my advisor, low-key, on like some of my work, because I actually just started writing. I've been a slam poet for many years now, but And so I wrote poetry a lot, but those were maybe 500 words max. Writing a play is a completely different experience. And I actually discovered my playwriting here at Yale. And of course, with like my classmates and of course, AK, who is also a part of my 2023 class. It's been awesome that we've been collaborating in different ways, because I think we both have like stepped into like different, like AK has acted, I have, you know, written, and so it's really fun that here at Yale you can do anything.
Yeah, we got to work on a process last semester actually on a play together, and it was really incredible. Just like being in the room, bouncing ideas off each other, like building something in community.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Really fun.
The level of sisterhood that is here as we celebrate Women's History Month. Can you tell us about, since you just briefly spoke about it, can you talk about how it feels to write with someone in your class? I don't know if you two see each other as sisters, but the energy I'm seeing here is, this is one of your good homegirls.
Yeah.
Okay. And if she's your advisor on playwriting, this is your best. We're not cussing today, but this is your best girl. So, can you talk a little bit about that dynamic as being female writers, and in the space where you're writing? You both said undergrad was something. Everyone's eyebrows went up, and we didn't have to say too much about that. So having, you know, each other and being in the space, but also creating in that space, how is that? What do you, not what's your duty in that, but how do you carry that every day?
Yeah, I think it's so important and critical to like lift up other Black women and like Black femmes as I'm creating work, and just making space as I'm writing plays, and also as I'm imagining. I've been thinking a lot about like plays as blueprints and plays as like the ground upon which we create communities and stuff. And so, yeah, like, I don't know, I think all the time about how I'm inviting people into the spaces that I'm creating on the page. And Abigail's one of those people, like time and time again, thinking about as I'm creating and as I'm writing, how can I create a part that might do, like, that she might be able to bring to life, and that would be worthy of her talent, which I think has been a really cool process. Yeah,
I agree. I also like AK is one of my favorite playwrights, to be honest with you, because I think the first time I read her writing, I was like, like it's just brilliant, unlike any other writer I've ever known. And I think honestly, AK was a big reason that inspired me to write like more as a playwright. I didn't know I was capable of it until I was like, oh, like Black women can write like this, like we can do this. Like I didn't know. I thought there was like a formula for some reason. And I think AK's writing breaks this kind of like formula. And so it made me feel more free in writing how I felt like writing, and especially acting is new for me. And on top of that, writing is new for me. So it was like, but there's a safe space in writing that I didn't know. I didn't know was comfortable until like we started diving in, and we've done so much work together already in the like 2 years that we've been here, and it's been incredible. Yeah.
Okay, talking about work, y'all.
Yes.
In between bitches, okay?
Yeah.
Let's talk about that damn play. Because we just grown ass people. Girl.
Thank you.
And AK, we're gonna get to your piece, Amani, too.
Yeah.
But In Between Bitches is about so many levels of how women of every age, Black women of every age, or even women of other white women, because hell, there's some white girls going through what do you call it, bulimia and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Right. And it's always been said that, you know, Black and Latino women own their curves or whatever, but So let's talk a little bit about well, of course I see what the inspiration is, but talk about how that came about.
Yeah, I think it actually came about through therapy and through a sisterhood that I didn't know was here, but needed to be kind of like carved in, because I do think coming into this industry of performance and acting, a lot of your appearance is like a big deal. And on top of that, being a Black woman, I remember like when I was applying for Yale and I finally knew what Yale was, I was looking through actors and looking through people that went here. And a lot of them didn't look like me, didn't have my body type. And so it was very intimidating. And I think I got into my head a lot. And so I needed to go to therapy for body dysmorphia because and then the pandemic happened and I was looking at myself too much. It was just there was a lot of things happening internally. And then I would have conversations with other women and other Black femmes, and I would be noticing that all of us were sitting here kind of being like, yeah, me too, no matter what shape or size you were. Like somebody that I thought would like have the ideal body that I was like struggling to get is like struggling themselves to get somebody else's body. So we're all like throwing things at each other. And in actuality, I've just always felt in between. I've always felt like this like person of like I don't want to be this like super thin woman, but I also don't feel like I'm that Black woman that has the like own your curves kind of look. And so the show came about through just like my conversations with girlfriends and situations that I've just had, especially during this pandemic. It was quite fun to make it a comedy and not something that seeped in, even though at some point it did get to a point where we talked about what was real, because it's very real for a lot of us in many different ways. Yeah.
And when I say all ages, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Kate. Yeah.
Sorry, I just wanted to say, like, the play went on at the cabaret a couple of weekends ago, or was that last weekend? It was, yeah, but it was incredible, and like I just was so blown away by it, and just felt so seen by it, and I just appreciate that, Abigail, like you making space for this story and for Black women to talk about like body image things. So yeah.
When it showed at the cabaret, what was the response you got from it? How did people react?
I think it was actually really, it was nice to hear what Black women had to say about it. Because like Black women were like, yo, like,
like you too?
Like, yeah, like I thought, and I think there was a good question that they asked about, like, it's different to see women in this light, Black women specifically in this light, because we are told to be strong. We are told to like carry this like super cape. We are told to, and I was like, and I remember being like, I'm just tired of being strong. I just really exhausted, and I really wanted to just like not be strong in this and be like, I need help. I need some kind of spiritual healing, some kind of mental healing. Like I needed that help. And so that's the biggest thing that I'm happy that people responded in a way that was like same.
And it sounds like it was a help for everyone who was there. Miss Ife related to it. I had a chance to look through it. And as Nina Simone said, art should reflect the times. Because what you get visually on stage or what you read, and as you said before, writing gives you a different space that necessarily acting doesn't, because you have to sit with the words. Once you read something that's been written, it's like you're visualizing it on your own. Yeah. Books and writing can take you somewhere that you'll never necessarily can be portrayed on screen or even with the best film equipment. Yeah. So I think the gift that you both have, and you have a very iron sharpened iron dynamic, which is needed and which is phenomenal, because in a lot of collective spaces is where you can bounce ideas off one another, just energy. Yeah. Which I think the pandemic has kind of taken from us in a bit, but I've been in some spaces where you can still get that energy. Because if you can't fake it if it's real.
Yeah, that's true.
And AK, your piece, Amani, about the different levels of relationships we have with our men. Let me just put that out there. Like, daddies, boyfriend, little boys that have crushes on a girl. Where?
So good.
Yeah. So I started the play a couple last year, and just reflecting on my relationship with my own dad, and just growing up and feeling this immense love from him and this immense care, but also this really just reckoning with the ways that toxic masculinity has shown up in my life, and has reared its head in various ways, and trying to make sense of those things, and how the patriarchy shows up across various different places, and how to also hold space for the fact that this on one hand the patriarchy, and on one hand this really terrible system, and also this person that I love very much who is a man, and how do you hold those two different things at once, and how do you make space for the healing of Amani, for the girls who are a part of that, and then also for men in the world as well. So
good. So the reading was
so good.
Yeah, so good.
What playwrights, females, are inspirations for you all? If there is, I know there can't be one.
So I love Dominique Morisseau. She's one of my favorites. And then, I just discovered actually this YSD playwright named Sharon Stockard Martin, who isn't that well known, but she's so cool. I really like her work. And Christina Anderson, who actually is teaching a class here at YSD right now, and she's really great.
Okay.
Yeah.
And how about you, Abigail?
I'm a Susan Laurie Parks fan all the way. I think she's one of the first Black women playwrights I've actually read, and was like, whoa, this is brilliant. And then I've just read this, and I've read some more of her work. This East Asian YSD female playwright, Hansel Jeong. And she did this beautiful play called The Cardboard Piano that I think that she actually wrote at Yale, which I was blown away by, and how she was able to incorporate immigration and religion and and LGBTQ plus rights all in one play. I just did. It was actually brilliant. So yeah, those are two that I've just been thinking about lately.
Also mentioning Tori Sampson, she's a YSD grad as well, who is incredible. She has this play, If Pretty Hurts, Ugly Must Be a MF, but it's really good.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
See, these are people we have to check out. Yale will have folks there, and you never know what's going on or the work that's getting out or what's being created. And it's you have to just kind of be where are the people? I know you have people there that you have their talents, but you're keeping them in a box. Me and Miss Ife were talking about this the other day. A lot of organizations and a lot of institutions will have these phenomenal people, these gems, and it's you don't know where they are, but they're not being appreciated where they are, but they're sure enough not letting anyone else know that they're there.
That's true.
How is it on campus? Are there any groups as far as that where you can gather any Black student groups on campus? And as we celebrate Women's History Month, I think last year was 50 years of women at Yale. And I don't know if this is 51, but you all are a part of that. And then that class and that lineage of women. Can you talk to us a little about that? Well, not a little, a lot about that, to be honest.
Yeah, we have a group at YSC called Folks that I'm on leadership on, that is the Black Theater Ensemble. And right now, actually, we're planning an event to honor the Black Women Playwrights of YSD throughout history. So it'll be March 25th that we're organizing at the moment. And yeah, so that space, it was founded by Angela Bassett when she was here in the 80s. And the space is just we've been trying to organize events, trying to hold space for students, trying to just be both a place of solidarity for Black students on campus, but also think about how we can connect to folks who are outside of Yale, and bridge those divides that Yale has created.
Oh, let's talk about that, okay? Being a native New Havener, shot from Newark. Just got here a few years ago, but because when Angela Bassett was here, and Rock and Angela's now husband as well, and David Allen Greer. Like, I remember those folks, but like they did stuff like get their hair did on Dixell Avenue and hang out at Elks Club. And when I was coming up, I'm 61. I don't have a problem saying my age, as women do. But when I was coming up in Afro, the local people used to party sometimes at the Afro Am Cultural Center, so we had interaction over the years. And I've been around in certain situations where they I don't know if they still do, but they would tell the undergrad, any students coming, graduate, undergraduates, stay in the bubble. Don't go outside the bubble because we can't protect you outside the bubble. And it's like, well, you hiring all the people that work outside the bubble to work, to clean up, to pass the paperwork along, to do all the things to make the machine run. And 9 times out of 10, you know, if you're Black and you come into Yale, you might have came from somewhere where you had to get your hair did with Miss Susie, or you know, at the beauty salon, barbershop. You're looking for a church or something like that, and it's like, so folks, I didn't like. I'm just hearing about this, right? And you said Angela started it. I could believe that because it was over the years. I've seen more interaction, but I've also seen, and more particularly at the drama school, in the arts administration program, some people really have to leave. And without, I don't know if it'll get you in trouble or whatever. I mean, I know they got Terrell McRaney now, so they trying to color their pages. Well, what's it like for you all? What and AK, you can speak to this because you did undergrad as well. What's your life experience like with that town and gown relationship?
Yeah, I mean, I think, as I was mentioning before, undergrad was just such a difficult and different experience for me because of the fact that, like, the school, as you mentioned, as you spoke about, like, the school very intentionally tries to keep this divide in place, and they try to separate even Black students who are from, like, I'm from a low income background, I'm from Pittsburgh, and like there's this so like this constant like feeling in between, or feeling like I'm separated from my community and from my people, that the school tries to put in place. And so I think like that was very present for me all through undergrad, and like the elitism and like the separation. And I think grad school has been better solely because it's Terrell Alvin McCraney. And he has like very intentionally crafted our program. Like, we have all POC now, like the entire program. There's 9 of us. There's 5 Black people, 4 Black women. Like, it's fire. And so like there's so much going on that I think I'm just so grateful for, just the space to be able to share work and to like have a community that's like holding me up as I'm sharing it. So yeah.
Well, that's good. And I have to say mention too, in the early 2000s, I had the privilege of producing a show by Marcus Gardley, who was a Yale graduate. And we did it, like Sun Falling from the Mouth, with some some grad students in drama. We produced Marcus's play at the Afro-American Cultural Center, and then took it to the National Black Theater Festival. We had a wonderful time. And at that time, like, that was I just happened to bogart myself in a space where I was I was a coordinator for Dwight Edgewood Project. And I created this program called Arts at Work, because I wanted young Black kids from New Haven to understand that there's production, the background of theater. You get work. Like, you building sets, you helping with costuming and lights and sound, props. All those little things go into teaching that into work. They're viable work, sometimes more than the actors get.
Yeah.
I think it's important that, because what we're discussing here, this portion, that there's an intentional bubble created. And we've spoken about this, but I think what also needs to be spoken at this point in time is that those of us who are here would like for you to come out of the bubble. We know that that's been placed, but we've been waiting. And I think you all have been waiting for us too. Because I think if folks get together and start talking, there's more nonprofits in New Haven than trees. Okay. There are things going on, there are things happening. So knowing that we've been intentionally separated, I think it's time for us to intentionally get together. Because what you ladies are writing, what Terrell is doing, Terrell had the Grace Star show. That was a whole thing that I think about often. But for folks of your program and for the Black students at Yale, not even just the Black students at Yale, but for those who are searching for a community or who want to do more than the degree at Yale, at Southern, at wherever you might be, there are folks in New Haven who would love to collaborate, to work together, to cultivate, to bring something new, because everyone's tired of what's been going on. If they can trust folks to come in to clean and to cook their food and to watch their kids, then what's so dangerous about our ideas getting together? And if that's what scares you, then maybe that's what we need to be focusing on, because everything else seems to be mundane.
And we want to thank our sister Emily Mayo
Yeah.
for being placed at the drama school and making some connections.
Yes.
And also, and who's on our team for Lit Fest, and very valuable in just bringing you all together. And one of the things I'd like to ask you as well is talk about is what I don't think the larger machine of the university understands as they segregate themselves, the students from New Haven, is that a lot of times as Black students coming here, you get energy from being in your community.
Yes.
That's a fact.
You can't just survive with all of them all the time.
That's right. You gotta get activated. They don't want you to get activated.
Right.
All you gotta do is get your hair done once, or go to the corner store once.
Truly.
Yeah.
Yeah, I found so much joy in undergrad going to Miss K's, just to get away from Yale's campus. So yeah, absolutely.
I mean, speak to us some of the places that you may have ventured out of in New Haven and had a good experience with.
Yeah.
Like Miss K's.
Yeah, definitely Miss K's. I'm a Delta, so I think being involved in New Haven alumni chapter has definitely been a big part of my journey here. Also just art scenes, there's been jam sessions over at the State House that have been really great. So yeah, a couple things.
Yeah, and I love to get my hair braided on Dixwell. It's just the way it is, I think. And I meet a lot of other women who are from Africa, but from different parts. So we all have conversations on some people are from the Ivory Coast, some people are from Ghana. So it's great having conversations with women that are from my continent. And then I also, Sanders Next Generation is always a different experience for me. I absolutely love going there, and I love. I also worked with Odell on her play this past summer, and it was actually when we worked on the production outside, me and my classmate Malachi Beasley, it was actually, I was Reverend Odell was I was this is on a lot had changed, a lot had happened. And it was actually so beautiful to be a part of that community, and things are in the works, and we're working on some new stuff. But I've interruptions. Yes, was by far a great experience to have that summer. Yeah,
we're currently working on the part 2 of that actually, and I'm sure Odell will announce it soon. But Abigail is going to be a part of that. So yeah.
So excited.
See that town and gown connection.
AK's helping out with the writing, so it's about to be. We're excited.
And that powerful sisterhood, because these stories need to be told, and we got to give a shout out to Baobab Tree Studios and Rev Kev, because he did tape it and put it out there. And your sorority sister Odell as well.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. So what do you all have on the horizon beyond Yale? Of course, things will probably open up. Who knows? Kind of sort of some kind of hybrid of our world.
Yeah.
So what you got planned, Abigail, and then AK?
Currently, right now, I'm working on school, but I definitely have. I just got into Lena Waite's mentorship program, Hillman grad, and I'm so grateful to Lena and the community because it's really opened my eyes to a lot of things that I'm not aware of in the industry, and to do screen acting with some of the best mentors I've ever worked with. So right now I'm working on that. A lot of this quarantine and this time is for me to focus on writing, because I'm writing this play that's like a spin-off of Rose, the character of Rose from August Wilson's Fences, which AK has been helping me with, and we're still working on it. But that we're working on that, and I'm also just a lot of it is writing and me just learning the work because I am so new to all of this. So I would love to just have a lot of tools in my back pocket that I can pull out at any point in time. So it's been quite exciting.
How about you, AK?
So I'm trying to focus on school at the moment and just get some more plays in the world, just get some writing done. And I started a theater collective with some friends from Pittsburgh that Abigail's actually a part of too, that we're building. And it's sort of like this hybrid model thing that I'm intentionally hoping is something that can move and be fluid and be embracing the fact that Black people, like our histories are tied with migration and with movement. So yeah, that's something that we're building right now. And yeah, I'm hoping in the future, I'm trying to think about because I want to be both a playwright and also a professor. So thinking about that too, and how those things can tie together for me.
I'm trying really hard not to scream, just scream out loud. When we talk about it being up and it's stuck there, it's up and it's stuck there. Throughout this whole, okay, Abigail, let's start from the beginning. Sis said Lena. I don't know if folks are catching that.
Right.
Okay, who Lena is. We're talking the shy Lena, okay? Yeah. We are talking Queen and Slim, okay? People, you see what's happening in the world right now? There's a lot happening in the world. Under the importance of what you just said, okay, of folks understanding that there's history as people move, as Black people migrate and move. A lot of folks are in Connecticut, and a lot of these northern states are from the South. Mm-hmm. We're talking South Carolina in the back.
Yep.
We're talking Alabama in the back. And that history of being from there to here and what that looks like and what that means, and that the connection over the history and how folks have migrated and what that has done to the towns they've been in. Miss Ife is a part of a major clan here in New Haven. Her history and her lineage is so rich, but all of her siblings and her descendants of her ancestors, it's to see that and visualize it and to see how that plays out in the community every day. You could run into a Huckabee anywhere. Okay. Mm-hmm. And just, okay, I do have a question, but I could just burst right now, truly just burst. AK, I wanted to ask you, in your bio, you have, her plays love on and engage the interdependencies of Black past, presents, and futures, and to seek to remember language that might move us towards our collective liberations. Now, can we first talk about the importance of what you are describing as far as time of past, presents, and futures?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. I mean, I think that's something that I'm constantly thinking about is how are we in conversation with those who came before us, and how are we laying ground for those who are going to come after us in my plays, and also just in how I'm trying to exist in the world. And so, yeah, that's that. Yeah. And I think holding space in the plays that I'm working on to expose that as a way for survival, and as a way for finding means for survival as Black folks in diaspora.
Mm-hmm. And then where you have giving to give folks remembered language and find reminders of our own collective liberations. Can you talk a little about collective liberations? I think folks need to get a little bit more deeper and understand that this isn't just a black white thing. It isn't a black male thing. It isn't a black gay woman thing. It's all connected. There's a class aspect to all of this, an economic aspect to all of this, and understanding the importance of how that interconnects. You can't really unlock it all until you've connected it all.
Absolutely. Yeah, I definitely, I mean, I think you said it. Like, I think it's very much like if I'm not free, like, or if I'm not free, like nobody else is going to be free. So how do we like get free together? What are the things that we can do to make sure that we're all getting free, which is collective liberation. And then also the plural in that, like saying collective liberations, that there's many different ways that freedom shows up. And there's not one single way that like, yeah, Black freedom exists. And so how can we strive for that? The multiplicity of it too. Yeah, and finding language too, because so much, like I so appreciate the space that y'all have created with LitFest to talk about language and literature, because I think so much has been done like to co-opt our tongues and to English has been used to like, yeah, to take away so much of our power. And so how do we reclaim and refine how to use language and how to speak truth to power?
When you all are writing, how do you choose your words? Does it just naturally flow, or have you ever gone back and rewritten something and chosen a better word? Or do you use it based on the audience, or what leads you to end up with the words you have on the paper?
Yeah, I think when I'm writing, I specifically focus on what my tongue wants to say. A lot of it is if it feels right in my mouth, then it's meant for my people. I like, a lot of people are like, well, what does that mean? Is that specific? And it's like, are you talking about specific where you're from and everything? I was like, it doesn't matter. We are all like centered as we're one Black, we're one whole. And so, my tongue has speak a different language, but it does not mean that we don't have the same rhythm. We don't have the same wavelength. And a lot of it has been like, even driving into like, because a lot of it for me has been like, I've tried to dive into a lot of, people have been like, oh, so you have to separate the two. Your Blackness, your Nigerianness, you have to separate the two. And I was like, I can't. Like, literally, I can't. And like, even Black folks here and that I've talked to, like American Black folks, have always been like, I will never. I feel there's like a centering in Africa or in Nigeria somewhere that is where my foundation, my roots is. And I was like, because it is. And if you feel like your tongue is speaking that way, if you feel like a part of you is moving in that way, then it's your ancestors, it's you, it's your spiritual being coming alive. And so I think I just let my tongue flow the way my tongue flows, because it connects all different parts of the world, and comes alive in so many different ways. Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm seconding that. I think one of the biggest lessons that I learned from Terrell in this program is like this idea of like listening to your play. Like the play will tell you what it wants to be, and spending that time with it, and the characters will tell you like sort of what the story is and how they speak. And I think a big thing that I focus on too when I'm writing and thinking about words and language is rhythm. My mom is a music teacher back home, and so I think a lot about like how music and how sound comes across. And I spend a lot of time when I'm writing just like humming it to myself, like how the words sound on the page, and like thinking about how they string together and because I think the music's such a core of how Black people have survived and existed throughout time, and that being a core of like how I'm thinking about the rhythms of my plays and the lyricism.
I'm still going. There's not enough minutes in this, and I don't want to get us off track because I will go on tangents. When the world opens up, or let's get together.
Absolutely.
But for young sisters who are out there, or even just young folks, what if you could give advice to your younger self of where you are now in your writing and in your life, or gems that you may have picked up in school, what would you tell them?
Oh, wow.
That's something to simmer on. Don't feel,
Yeah. I mean, I feel like I think I'm always feeling like I'm everything I discover is completely new and I become a young writer again. If that makes sense. Like it's like I'm starting from square one. And so I feel like as long as you just start, you are you are bringing something alive as long as you just start writing, which is also like scary because you're like, well, how do I put things up? And it's like it'll all come alive. You just have to write it. You just have to put it on stage or on the page, because I mean, if we don't write our stories, they will die off. So the biggest thing is just writing our stories. A lot of it is my experience of like, if my mom says something that is like profound or something that I'm like, something is developing, the sense within me is saying, write about it. It'll be maybe even a sentence that ends up turning into a story, months down the line, or maybe even a week down the line, who knows? But the biggest thing for me is like, you are always going to be like a new writer as you discover new things about yourself. So just put things on the page and write to your heart's content,
Yeah, I love that so much. Like just the idea of learning and being constantly in a state of learning. And I think I'd say like listen. Like I think listening is a huge thing that I would tell young writers. Just like pay attention to what's around you. But then also like first and foremost, like taking care of yourself and developing like a self-care practice that is aligned with like what you need as an artist. Because I think so often, especially like in this world that we're in right now, like there's the work comes before the artist or the person. It's like what you put out, what you're producing. And I think if you're not like in tune with like your inner self and like your own wellness, like you're not going to produce things that are in tune with the world you want to see or with just like, yourself. So I think that's important.
All right. So for our young folks, we got a few things here. Starting, self-care, there is no formula, and listening. Because a lot of the time we get caught in overthinking, right? And overthinking, we'll really be thinking and hours have passed, days have passed, and we haven't written one thing.
Mm-hmm.
So we're so caught up in how am I going to do it? You've never actually done it. There is no formula. There is no secret sauce to it. You have to just start and it will come. I think it's putting that, what you all have described is putting that step forward and trusting in yourself and trusting in your purpose and what you all have done. Nothing is by coincidence. And learning constantly, Miss Ife speaks a lot about no one should feel like they have arrived.
Mm-hmm.
If you feel like you've shown up and that this is the best thing happening, you've made it to wherever, that's where it will stop. Because you said this is as far as I can go. But if you look at women in history like Cicely Tyson, she never felt like she arrived. This woman acted almost up into her last year. Angela Bassett, women who we've seen have been able to go through time because they stay fresh, they stay new. It's like, how does she still do it? Because it's like there's a love for it. I feel like there's an appreciation of the art and the commitment to it and the culture, to where it's like if you get caught up in you've made it, it's like, well, it's never been about you. So how dare you say, oh, it's a wrap. We got to this point in life.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You muted, Missy Faye. It's looking good though.
I'm muted. And again, Elm City Lit Fest was created to celebrate and promote the voices, the literature, and literary artists of the African diaspora for everyone. Okay. For us, yes, because for wherever we come from, we always are educated with other first, and not with ours. And a lot of what people don't know is they don't know our stories, so they go by assumptions of what they know, and then hence we have like that ain't just the only reason why people are racist. They just are. But creating and not creating, but seeing ourselves, seeing our stories may help some. But we have to educate ourselves. It's just so, that has been so important to me. And literature has been important. I'm wearing James Baldwin and Lorraine Hansberry dancing in my earrings.
Mm-hmm.
Shout out to People Get Ready bookstore
Yes.
for the earrings, you know, and the and
Mhm.
having spaces like People Get Ready to like when you go in Barnes and Noble or any other bookstores and you see like a shelf, you go and People Get
Right.
Ready, and it's all about
Yeah.
everyone.
Right.
You can
It's
feel it.
African American, it is Native American, it's Latino, it's the rainbow.
Mhm.
Listen, because we all are here. We're all here. It ain't changing. The world ain't changing, despite what
Mhm.
people want to feel. And this, you two are making history. You are living history, and I really am so honored that you all are here, because the starting Women's History Month, I was like, we don't need to talk about what happened. We need to talk about what's the forward,
Mhm.
the past, the present, and the future. And you're here presently, and the future is on the horizon, and you're feeding into it with your work.
Mhm.
When I tell you those two pieces, when I was like, oh, and I got a ticket for the In Between Girl. I was like, what? When I saw the graphic, I was like, oh, I know that piece speaks to every. I hope they can show it again, because now I'm talking about it, and we got a whole bunch of people on Facebook watching this. So, but it doesn't matter your age. Women are going body image mess all the time, you know. And I mean, look, we got Lizzo embracing herself, and people still trying to hate,
Mhm.
you know. But then we got like everybody done got saying they got COVID-10 because they had to stay in the house, so all they did was eat snacks. But Oreo cookies talking to you, girl. Okay.
It's a fact.
Oh my God.
Mhm.
And AK, your piece up in just the father-daughter relationship, and the relationship of Amani with men, just at every age, child. It's relatable. It's definitely, we want to support you all in everything and look forward to what you got in your head coming out.
Yeah.
And we're grateful for you being here. Sha?
We're grateful. We're grateful for this space.
Yes.
Like M City Lit, like when I found out about it, I was like, why hadn't I found out about this sooner? Because I was like, this is just a perfect space for Black folks to just be. And so we are grateful to you all, and thank you for connecting Yale, the folks, with the community, because this is definitely, this is definitely something that needs to happen. We need to connect with the community, especially the New Haven community.
Mhm.
Girl, it was Elm City Lit Fest. This is our second year. September, look for us. 11, 12.
Mhm.
And thank you to Emily Mayo, the spook who sat by the door. If people look that movie up, it's really a movie.
Yeah, no, that's
A brother that took it all in, and but Emily is making that connection with us, and we are grateful to that sister for her quiet strength, making the connections and into the community for the Black people coming through Yale, the Black students coming through Yale, because listen, the community needs it, and y'all need the support. You know, to give you the strength to move on and into other things. We're so happy to say you're here. We have a lot of comments in Facebook.
And the importance of the support that E provides, and folks at universities and at jobs and spaces like E, because you all are at an amazing school, but you in your own trenches. Okay. Folks want to go, but once you in there by yourself. And it's not all, what it may be cracked up to be, but you in there, you know what they have to offer, and you see what it truly can be used for if done the right way.
Mhm.
So as we give our flowers and sisters like Miss Ife our flowers, you sisters deserve your flowers, because there's a group of young sisters who will come after you, who will get to walk in your steps because you all took the baton. A lot of folks right now talk about Black Lives Matter statements and book lists, but it's footwork, it's application, it's the things you're putting in your writing, it's you coming and having conversations like this. And Lit Fest is still new. Our second one will be in September. So it's up from here and it's forward from here, because I feel like the world, and especially New Haven's, at a time where folks are tired of being sick and tired, and no one has time to keep playing the game. I feel like folks of our generation aren't no more. I don't want it. If it's blood money, you can keep it. We're gonna figure it out. Our people have been selling CDs out the trunk and have gone and done millions. Okay, it's a wrap for that. And with the art that's coming out right now, before this, I was watching the Billie Holiday movie, and that, if you have some time, check that out, as well as other things that are happening. But also check out what's going. I don't know if folks can go to the cabaret. Miss Ife, you got tickets to that, but
it was virtual, and it was like click on, pay your $10, and it's virtual like everything now. But aside from, well, when things open up, it's a great space to hear the voices.
Right.
But we have to follow these sisters and find out what they doing. And if it comes out, when it comes out. And also we got shout out to Odell is on, she's listening to us. Hey, Odell, we mentioned you earlier. I hope you heard it. And Dolores and Lauren from People Get Ready. Yay. Emily just put yalecabaret.org in there. So
yeah, go now while stuff is $10, because folks know once it open back up, baby, it's gonna be $60. So while you home and you ain't got nothing else, click on it. You got 10 for your tank, give 10 towards these sisters or folks who are doing stuff and producing stuff. There are events going on all around. Y'all know we love Juanita up in New London. That sister has an amazing things going. Go support her. Folks are doing so many things. You can't say I couldn't make it. I was too busy. Baby, you can't go nowhere. It's a wrap. It's locked up.
Listen,
Wi-Fi is working.
And the cabaret is a gem. Like when it is open, you could go down there and have you a glass of wine.
It's a good time.
It is.
And you could be right up on the theater.
Yeah.
It's like New Haven people don't know, because they don't be this right by the Afro Am Center on Park Street. People be walking by it. A sister been going for a minute because I invade those spaces. I ain't scared. But we have to wind up. But we again thank you for setting off our Women's History Month. You historical women of theater. Getting your voices out there. I want to tell everybody to thank you for watching. And next week we start our book club.
Oh, yes.
Girl, Woman, Other.
I love that book.
Bernadine Evaristo. So our book club is not live though. It's going to be a Zoom link. You send an email to elmcitylitfest@gmail.com. I'll send you the Zoom link. And next Sunday at 7 p.m. we're going to be talking about the stories in this book, because it's some stories in this book about sisters. It's global. They're in Britain. But the struggle in like you mentioned earlier, Abigail, like whether it's Nigeria, whether it's England, whether it's Pittsburgh, whether it's New Haven, the sister's story is still our voices. It's still the same. It's the same struggle. How we do it is global. So and we have to share each other's voices. So I hope everybody can email us. I hope we get a bunch of emails from this. Follow these sisters. Are you all on social media? I got a webpage. What you got? Oh, we got to do Yale, because you in school, because you ain't got time for all of this.
I have a webpage, just akpayne.com, but I'm on social media here and there.
Yeah, same.
Okay.
I'm on social media here and there. I do not have a webpage yet, though. One day.
We got to look for Abigail Onywale. Did I say your name right?
Onwunali.
Onwunali.
Yeah.
And AK Payne. Look for their work. support Black theater people.
Yes.
Because before Morgan Freeman, Denzel, and Angela Bassett, everybody was on film. They was in theater.
Yes.
And theater is really how you can feel something. Okay. So we're gonna wind up our Lit Fest podcast for this evening. And thanks again for joining us. We'll see you in 2 weeks.
Share this video with your friends. It's the afterthought. Our book club is still going on. Elm City Lit Fest, in conjunction with People Get Ready Books, is a part of the Knowledge is Power book drive. Support the books. These books are going to Comores Cultural Corner up in Hartford for their youth. They will support Manchester Head Start as well. It's local bookstore. It's not coming through Amazon. Make it happen. Click the link and come to the book club as well.
And you get a discount at People Get Ready if you say you're getting a book for the book club. And I hope you do. Blessings. Good night, everyone.
Thank you all.
Thank you.